They told me to stay quiet. Not in those words, of course. They said things like, "You don't want to make this into something bigger than it is. Maybe you misunderstood. Let's not be quick to judge." But I'm 14, not stupid, and I knew what I saw, what I felt, what I heard. My name is Sierra James. I live in a little town outside Dallas called East Pine. It's one of those places with only one middle school, one high school, and way too many churches. I'm in 8th grade. Or, well, I was. It started the second week of the semester. Mr. Lorman was new, white, tall, always wore a blue tie, and had a habit of fixing his glasses every time a black student raised their hand. First assignment in social studies was a short essay about the Constitution. I stayed up late working on it, printed it, formatted the citations, highlighted the thesis. Mama even helped me proofread. I got a C plus. Mia, the white girl who sits next to me and copied half my outline, got an A minus. That didn't sit right. I went up to his desk. "Mr. Lorman, I was just wondering if I could understand what I did wrong on my paper." He didn't even look up. "You didn't answer the prompt thoroughly." "But I did. I wrote about the—" "You're being argumentative, Kiera. Maybe that's part of the problem." That word, argumentative, I'd heard it before. Teachers used it when a black girl didn't smile and nod fast enough. The next assignment? Short answer, quiz. Me, Jamal, Keisha, and Tanisha got C's and D's. Everyone else got B's or higher. We compared our answers. They were almost identical. Keisha said, "Yo, he grading us different." I shrugged. Maybe he just harsh. But that night I read back over the rubric, and Keisha's answer was perfect. It just had a different structure, but it was right. By October, it was a pattern. Calling on us last, marking our papers with vague notes, forgetting to return our work on time, watching us like we were cheating every test, and always, that word, attitude. The final straw wasn't even mine. It was Tanisha. We were in a group project. She did the slideshow, I did the script. Lorman pulled me aside after class and said, "Shara, it's not a good idea to let other people do the work for you, especially someone who struggles." I said, "What do you mean by struggles?" He smiled. "Don't get defensive." That night, I told Mama. She paused, real quiet. Then she said, "Keep your head up, baby. Document everything." So I did. Every assignment, every rubric, every returned paper with the red pen. Every time a white student got praised for the same sentence structure I got marked down for. I started recording audio on my phone. Not illegally. Texas is a one-party consent state. I checked, I saved screenshots, printed my friend's papers next to mine, color-coded the grades. I went to the school counselor. Her name was Ms. Vogel. Blonde hair, lipstick that always looked freshly applied. I showed her the patterns. She smiled like I was showing her a drawing. Said, "Grades can be subjective." Said, "I'll keep an eye on it." Said, "I'm proud of you for speaking up." Then nothing changed. One Monday, Keisha came in crying. Said Mr. Lorman accused her of plagiarizing. He made her rewrite the whole essay. Didn't accuse anyone else. Didn't show proof. Just said, "It doesn't sound like you're writing." That same week, he gave extra credit to a white student for a paragraph that I wrote in the group doc. So I made a choice. I printed everything, made folders, one for each student affected, labeled the patterns, wrote a 10-page report. Then I asked Mom if I could speak at the PTA meeting. At first, she said no. Not because she didn't believe me, but because she did. "I just don't want them to punish you for being brave." But I told her, if I don't say anything, they win. She nodded and said, "Then we'll do it together." The meeting was in the school library. Folding chairs, cheap lemonade. Half the town was there. Teachers, parents, the principal, the board. I stood up with my notes shaking in my hands. I said, "My name is Sierra James. I'm in 8th grade, and I believe I'm being graded unfairly because I'm black." Silence. I heard someone gasp. One woman whispered, "Oh, no." I kept going. I showed the folders, read the quotes, explained the pattern, showed the recordings. Jamal and Keisha stood behind me. Tanisha held up her essay side by side with Emily's. Hers was marked wrong, Emily's was praised. The room shifted, eyes went wide. Murmurs began. One dad stood up and said, "This is outrageous." But Principal Harmon cut him off. "Let's not jump to conclusions." Mama stood up. "No one's jumping. We're landing. Right on the truth." The board said they'd investigate, said they took the matter very seriously, said they appreciated my poise and courage. But the next day at school, Mr. Lorman was still there, still teaching, still grading. Then the real pressure came. Ms. Vogel pulled me aside again. "You know, Kiara, not everyone appreciates public scenes. You could have gone through proper channels." I said, "I did." She didn't respond. Mr. Lorman didn't speak to me, but he stopped grading my work altogether, marked everything pending. I was pulled from his class a week later. Principal Harmon said it was for your protection. They moved me to another social studies section. No apology, no announcement, just quiet displacement, like I was the problem. 2 weeks later, Mr. Lorman was placed on administrative leave. Rumors said he resigned. No one confirmed it. But I know what happened, I know what we did, and I know I'm not sorry. They wanted me quiet. Instead, I became a voice. For Keisha, for Jamal, for every student who ever got told, "You're not advanced enough." For every girl who got labeled attitude for saying, "I don't agree." Now I speak at local meetings, joined the Youth Equity Council, started a blog, Ciara Speaks. Sometimes people say I'm too young to know what I'm talking about, but truth don't need a driver's license. My name is Ciara James. I'm 14, and I refuse to stay quiet.